All right. Action time this Friday, March 14th, 2025. Welcome, everybody, to the Daily BLP. It's a little sparse here today as far as guests go. We've got no Zoom guests, coming into the show. It's just me and my man in the chair, Declan. Let's get started. So to start, let's talk a little bit about how this week was here at Panacea Smart Solutions, coming at you from Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Pretty good week, I think, from a sales and marketing side. We were super busy. I think, let me look here quick at my calendar. I think some campaigns went out this week. Let's see, Monday. Let's see what happened on the Huddle DLP. Yep. We got client campaigns. We got social media posts that went out on Monday. And then Tuesday, what do we have here? Blogs went live. Our Pana Health Weekly on-page blog went out. So did some for our clients. We got what happened on Wednesday. Wednesday we had, again, some social media posts in Pana Health. So our team has been keeping busy. Email campaign dropped on Thursdays. I think that's what our team typically does, is gets those email campaigns for at least Pana Health and Panacea Smart Solutions on Thursday. I'm going to have to talk to Manish and have him put on the calendar when he sends out the Panatech stuff too, because that's not on our content calendar. Anyway, let's see how we did with new leads. New leads turns into new business, turns into growth, turns into we can employ more people, we can help more clients, and we can grow. So what came in this week? Well, if I jump over to our CRM into leads this week, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inbound leads. 1, 2, 3 of them were from web form fills. So great job, Manish and your team. When you see this, I know you guys are celebrating Holy today. Hopefully you guys are safe and having a good time, and everybody gets to freely worship in the way that they feel they should be over there. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 came in from our partner over at 360 Connect. Of those web form fills, 1, 2, 3 of them were for, I think those were all scribe opportunities. So that's cool. Remote scribe services there from Pana Health. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them were for revenue cycle management, for hopefully people we can help collect more of the money that they're owed from the services that they render for their patients. How about on the tech side, on the IT side? What happened this week? Well, we've got Bob, our outbound caller, kicking butt and taking names, and we had he made, looks like a total so far, he hasn't done anything yet today, but so far 111 calls were made in the first 4 days of this week, and he booked 2 new appointments. So he's right around, hovering around that between appointment every 50 to 60 calls, which is pretty darn good. About 55 calls or so, he's getting an appointment. Those are good numbers. Really happy with him there. I've been going on those meetings, and we're getting some relationships. We're getting some project opportunities. Those kind of take a little bit of time to transpire sometimes, and opportunities for new hourly billable clients to really cut our teeth and show them that we can do what we say we can do. And those typically do, if we do a good job, turn into long-term good client relationship. All right. I'm super excited about that stuff. Let's talk about the daily Doge. All right. What kind of activity do we have from yesterday to today, Dak? Did you pull up? You on Doge? Cool. Let's see here. Can you scroll a little bit? Let me see when this update was made. This was made yesterday as of 4:40 p.m. This is a response to an older post from, I don't know which day that's from, but it says today NIH canceled a bunch of contracts. So they updated that. Other grant examples from the NIH, $100K for Vanderbilt University to study social networks among sexual and gender minorities. $37K for the University of Houston to study fear of deportation in Latinx young adults, and $681K for the University of Pennsylvania to study. What's it studying, D? Click on that. To study social media anti-vaping messages among sexual and gender minority teens. Wow. $225K for the University of Colorado to study the effects of hormones on headaches in trans-masculine adolescents. Okay. Well, these are more examples of things that are being canceled. Lots of money to study random things that don't really move the needle for the country. Who knows if the money that was spent on these things so far or in the past ever even got to those things? I don't know. Anyway, hey, can you, okay, let's go back to Doge real quick. Okay, so what I wanted to do is let's take a look at the government workforce. Everybody's always talking about, the government's huge. There's a ton of employees. Let's check out some stats about what they are actually, the size and the number and what they make. And let's just see what's up. Go over there. Let's see. All right. Meet the U.S. government. Doge says U.S. government. All right. Executive branch. So all this they're saying is within the executive branch. The head count within the executive branch is over 2.2 million employees, almost 16,500 subordinate offices. I'm not sure what they mean by subordinate offices. Does anything happen if you hover over those numbers? No, I don't know what subordinate offices meaning. Maybe it just means the number of offices that are subordinate to the executive, like that would be the office of the president. Total wages, $211.3 billion. I'm guessing that's annual as of maybe 2024 or something. Okay, let's see. We got some bar graphs. Everybody loves bar graphs. Years and tenure, salary, and age. Okay, so the average employee has worked here worked in the government for 10 years. Okay, honestly, when you're in business, we're constantly looking to hire new people, and we're looking at resumes, and we're looking at applications. When you lose somebody, you got to hire somebody. So I've rarely seen, maybe one out of every 100 to 150 resumes that cross any of our desks have somebody that have worked in one industry for 10 years or more. Typically, most people are jumping ship anywhere. Again, I don't know. I don't think this statistic is going to bear itself true across industries, but my experience in the last 8 to 9 years is most of the time it's between 6 months and 2 years. People are skipping around. Sometimes for great reason, they're just doing good and they're popping up and they're getting promoted. A lot of the times it's because they either get bored or it doesn't work out or they don't like what they're doing and they move on. So what's the tall bar? What's the tallest bar in years of tenure? So 431,000 employees have worked here at the government for 5 to 9 years. Okay. All right. Maybe they're just really good at their job and they like doing it, and so they just stay. How about, let's see, go over to salary real quick. So what's the lowest salary so 2,500 employees make 20 to 30,000 a year. I wonder what type of jobs in the government only pay. Because from there, it bumps up. What's the next bar? 30 to 40. We have 44,000. So the number gets significantly bigger. Because go back to the last one. Is there one before it? Yeah, 79. Go back to that. 79 employees make less than 29 a year. Who could that be? I'm very curious about that. About who could the employees be that make less than 20K a year. I'm gonna check that out real quick. Probably nothing's gonna come up. So while the minimum basic pay is $18,000 for government employees and $9,000 for pensioners, at a predicted fitment factor of 2, the minimum basic pay pension would double by 100% to 36K. And I don't know. Doesn't really say what is the lowest paid government job. The lowest paid government jobs vary by agency, department, grade level. The general schedule is primary pay scale and it's 15 grade. It doesn't really tell me. GS1, the lowest grade in the level, but it doesn't really say. We'd probably have to spend a long time. Wonder if anybody could find out what those 79, maybe, we would keep their information private. It'd be cool if we could find out what those jobs are. They don't only pay that much. Maybe they're just part-time. Maybe they're whatever. All right, so let's go to the biggest one. The biggest bar. So the biggest lump sum of government employees are making 60 to 70K a year. That's a pretty good salary. Dak, I know that doesn't mean a whole lot to you, Well, it looks like a ton of money to you. It probably looks, to you, that probably looks like millions, right? To me, that looks like that can support a family, maybe with a kid or two. A couple of years ago, somewhat comfortably. Now, barely, because things are so expensive. Like, everybody laughs about the eggs being so expensive, but you can't get into the grocery store and get a week's worth of food anymore for a normal sized family, or let's say a husband, wife, maybe a kid or two, for under $200 or $300. Especially if you want to eat healthy. If you want to eat healthy, bump that up quite a bit. Go all the way to the right, and let's see what the highest paid government employee bracket is. Wow, there's one employee. Let's see. I'm gonna search. Who is the highest paid federal employee? Highest paid federal employee. Well, that's not right. Doesn't, because I look at this and it says December 3rd, 2024. The highest paid federal employee is making like 10.5 mil. Highest paid federal employees, number one, medical. So top high paying federal jobs are medical officers, earn 300K or more annually. Other lucrative roles in the field include dentists, pharmacists, nurses, and specialized physicians. Patent administrator, the average salary for a patent administrator is $181,000. Chief engineer, this role offers an average of 178 or almost 179,000. Vessel master, 178,000. Podiatrists, 176. But it doesn't tell me. Oh, here we go. Highest paid federal employee in this is 2020 was 464,000. Top federal jobs and salaries. It doesn't say person, but when I googled it, it did kind of say, as of November 2024, Jeff Lyash, Lyash, the CEO of the Tennessee Valley Authority (TVA), is the highest paid federal employee with a salary of 10.5, and I'm guessing that's million, but it doesn't really say. New York Post said top paid federal employee leaving, as an ad pops up on my screen. Knock it off. Stop it. Oh, I hate ads. Oh, Trump says they're getting rid of him. This is the Jeff Lyash guy is leaving the most lucrative job in federal government. Tennessee Valley Authority CEO Jeff Lyash, the highest paid federal employee with a compensation package of $10.5 million a year, abruptly announced Friday that he was retiring 11 days after the return to office of President Trump, who during his first term slammed Lyash's ridiculous pay and vowed to fire him. Sounds like Lyash got doged, a senior administration official told the Post. This is New York Post. Referring to Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency initiative to rein in allegedly wasteful federal spending. A TVA rep denied that Lyash was departing either in response to or to get ahead of pressure from Trump's team after 6 years on the job. The answer is no, blah, blah, blah. I just want to see what's the point of such a high salary for a CVO of the TVA? The true strength of TVA is its people and experienced and passionate workforce who work every day to make a difference. Trump tore into Lyash during the final year of his 45th, when he was number 45. We're getting rid of him in one way or another. Either the board's going to do it or we're going to do it, but he's gone. But why? By law, the president earns $400K annually. in addition to Trump said that at the time that Liash should have been earning no more than $500,000 a year and should not get a lavish exit package. By law, the president earns $400K annually. In addition to a $50,000 allowance for experience, members of Congress receive an annual salary of $124,000. The then president, responding to a question from the Post, said the Liash was grossly overpaid for leading role of federally owned utility. Oh, it's a utility company that the federal government owns. Okay, that makes sense. So it's like a power company. Like when we pay our bill to the city, it goes to the power company that the city we live in owns its own power plant, which is kind of neat. Interesting. Chief Financial Officer John Thomas raking $6.3 million a year at the TVA. Chief Operating Officer Don Mole earning $5 million. General Counsel David Fountain making $3.3 million. Chief Nuclear Officer Tim Roush This is interesting. So, I don't know. I don't know what these people do in their roles and how big they have to look at TVA and whether they should have been getting paid that much or not. I don't know, but it sounds like this is a organization that the government owns that's run more like a business, like a power company. And I don't know if, I've got family members that have run big, huge nuclear power facilities, and I don't know how much money they made, but I know they've done well, but they're smart and they're needed people, and you need smart people with smart teams in those kind of situations because there's a lot at risk. There's a lot of personal liability for people that are leading those kind of organizations because you screw things up and a lot of people could get hurt, not even within the organization, but wherever they're located. So I don't know much about the TVA, so I can't really comment, but it seems like a lot of money for someone working within the government. But it's not like, a normal cushy desk job kind of thing. So I don't know. I'd have to know a lot more about this person and what he does, but it's a high paying government job for sure. All right, back to the site. Sorry, I got down a rabbit hole there. But I was interested in that. Okay, scroll down. Scroll. Thank you. Go back up real quick. Sorry, I just saw this. The average employee makes almost 94 grand a year. That's a pretty good gig. That's a pretty good gig, I would say. Let's say in DC and a husband and wife work in government, and between the two of them, they average 94 grand each. As a couple, they're pulling in, 190 grand or so a year. They got a couple kiddos. I bet you they're living all right. I bet you they're doing okay. The real question that we're all trying to figure out, based on I think what Doge is uncovering, is of all the people that are working and earning in the government, how many of them are actually working and earning, right? You can go all over the place with stats and statistics on stuff, but most, excuse my French deck, I'm not going to get real sassy here, but there's a thing called Sturgeon's Law that is 90% of everything is crap. So you can go almost to any situation, and 10% of this whatever the subject matter is generally good and worth your time. 90% of it isn't. So if you take let's go books and novels and stuff, all the books ever written, 90%, maybe more, maybe 95, are probably awful. Not worth anybody's time, energy, effort, or whatever. 5 to 10% of them are good. Typically, I think you find the same thing in companies when you're employees. 90% of them are just doing enough not to get fired. 5 to 10% of them are carrying the load. You know what I'm saying? Like really getting after it day in, day out, working hard, going above and beyond, those kind of things. I think everybody wants to feel like they are, but I think if everybody was truly honest with themselves in that situation, that's how things would bear out. And you look at sports teams, except for maybe the highest functioning championship teams, 90% of people on teams are just doing enough to not let go of the team. And to some degree, that could be a lot of work on a professional sports team, maybe to be at that level where you stay at that level. But 10% are doing the things that make them the greatest. So, that's just it. I mean, companies that have to have a bottom line and, turn a profit to stay alive, and nonprofits that can't operating in the red every year, that have to be good stewards of their, charitable funds they receive. And I would argue government agencies that need to be good stewards of the money that makes them exist, which is taxpayer money or tariff money, need to be good stewards of that. So in those other organizations, you've constantly got people in leadership roles or third-party people looking into those things to make sure that they're being done. At least the good ones, at least the ones that get to a point where they've been burned enough, they figured, okay, we got to get on top of this. That's where we are as a company. We're changing things internally as a company to make sure that we're looking on an almost daily basis to make sure that people are doing what they say they're doing. Because there's a deal been made. The deal is we're going to pay you an agreed upon amount to do an agreed upon amount of work. And if that work's being fudged and we're still paying you, that's not a win-win. So I think in government's the same thing. Everybody can throw their arms up and get mad about who's doing it or what's doing it. But listen, we've been told this is being done and everything's on the up and up. Get somebody in there that doesn't stand to make, as much as people might be saying Elon Musk's making money from it, he's not. He's not. An hour of his time is worth if we put a bunch of us in millions of us in a room of hours of time of what can potentially earn on an hour of his time, it's way more than what he could ever hope to get out of this, which is nothing. People are, violently attacking his company, his products, his name, his whatever. And I don't know him, and I don't know his, his full character or all those kind of things. But as far as organizing a department that's actually holding other departments accountable in our government, man, let's go. Let's see how deep it goes, man. I just hope he's he's well protected and he takes care of himself and those kind of things, because man, there's some crazy people out there. Anyway, all right, scroll down a little bit. Let's see. We're almost done here. A couple more minutes and we can call it a day. Cabinet level agencies. Scroll down. So the cabinet level agencies, there's 34. Large independent agencies, 43. Medium independent agencies, 63. Small. Go to the small independent agencies. Click on that. What happens? Okay, it just changes that graph. Look at this. It changed everything. Dak, it changed everything. The first one was like the big picture. Now we're okay, small independent agencies. This is legit. This is sweet. Okay. 3,300 people work in the small agencies. The largest number of agencies is in the small agencies, right, D? That's what we saw, like 100 and some odd. 10 years of service. It shows all of them. That's cool. Average employee has worked here 10 years, so still on a 10-year average. We got salaries. Salaries jumped up to 143K. But you see there's a big spike. But the biggest number of them make the biggest amount of money, which that's not typically the case with how things go. It's usually the smallest amount of people in any organization make the biggest funds. But in this case, it's the largest amount across the board. The average employee is, again, 47 years old. That's crazy. It stays the same there. It's crazy. All right, let's pick one of the other ones real quick. Go down to... actually, these are all the different. Administrative Conference of the United States has 15 agencies. What are these things? Advisory, or maybe 15 employees, I don't know. Advisory Council on Historic Preservation, African Development Foundation, American Battle Monuments Commission, Appalachian Region, and blah, blah, blah. Arctic Research Commission. Click on the Arctic Research Commission. Let's roll with it, baby. All right, head count. Two people. has one subordinate office. Total wages between the two people is almost 400 grand. All right, scroll down a little bit so we can see a little bit more of that. Average employee has worked here 10 years, huh? Go hover over those things. One employee had 15 to 19, go back down, 5 to 9. Yep, it bears out. The average employee makes almost 200 grand. The average employee is 58 years old. Okay. You know what? I'm okay with that. I mean, those are big, 200K a year is pretty darn good money. But if you've been doing that for that long, and especially if they make you live in the Arctic, if you got to live up there and it's just you two, maybe, you get significant, maybe you got your families up there or something, like, okay, let's do that for 10, 15, 20 years, come home, and then I'm probably never going to look at snow again the same way, or ever, period, like without getting anxiety. Yeah, for sure. Okay. But I mean, still, one of those guys or gals is probably approaching retirement age pretty soon. Now, under the old administrations, it probably would have taken them 20 years to retire. But now they put some tech into it, so they can apparently do that a lot faster now. Anyway, pretty cool. I mean, you could do this for hours, and we won't. We'll spare you guys the pain of that. But we're just hoping, whoever sees this takes this and, like, if, maybe instead of doom scrolling on TikTok or something, or doom scrolling on, Facebook or whatever, they're like, oh, I watched the BOP today, and they were showing me Doge, and they were showing me how we could actually see what the heck is going on in the government and some of these averages and educate ourselves a little bit. And just get in there, tool around. I think it's personally profitable to know this information, or at least to have access to this information. So it's a lot better than some other boring data-driven kind of things. I think we're not even through with the first quarter of the year, and this whole thing has got a build out on it. I'm pretty impressed. Cool. All right. Well, you know what? We are at the end of our time today, Declan. The post-production process will bear out to see how good you ran the chair, but I think you did pretty good. We'll see. I had a lot of fun. Had a great week. I hope everybody who watches and who's watching now had a fantastic week, or is having one now whenever they're watching. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You know what? Today's Friday. Might not be Friday when you're watching this, but do what you can to make your day, your weekend, your week great. Be kind to people, but have a sense of humor. Don't take yourself too seriously. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Daily BLP. Be good, everybody. Bye-bye.